The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. This podcast is hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the sport of bowling. You will get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this generation, who just happens to be the son of a living legend. So, without further ado, let's introduce you to the host of the show, Rad Rob Francois, Dr. Ocho, and the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I'm your host, Rad Rob Francois. Johnny is going to kill me because I still haven't updated our video yet. He hates the pictures that are involved, especially Ocho's. Just the mask didn't look shiny, it looks horrible. But I'm working on it, trust me. Between my 400 podcasts and my 9-to-5 job, I just don't have enough time in the world to sleep. So
I'll work on it. I'll work on it if you need me to. I'd like some good pictures up there of all three of us.
Johnny, for fuck's sake, you just come here and talk. You don't do anything else. You don't provide anything else of value to the show. So
hey, I painted a condo today, so I did something else new that was at least somewhat productive. So I'm be more than willing to dive into putting a picture that looks like I'm at least decent looking.
Right on. That's a good deal. Dr. Ocho, welcome to the show. I don't even want to build you up. I'm not going to build you up. I'm not going to let you down. Say something.
If you do 400 podcasts and they all suck, does it count as anything being good? It's almost like the tree falling in the woods thing. Like, did somebody hear it? If you do 400 podcasts, sure, it's a lot of work, but they all suck. Does it count as doing anything?
Well, look, the last time the tree fell, you pushed me out of the way and saved me from
saved your life. Yeah.
So, I mean,
that's a different story.
Yeah.
That was very nice of you.
I was obligated because he won a contest, actually. That's all. It was just more like a make-a-wish kind of thing.
Oh, congratulations, Rad Rob.
It's...
I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in ages because we weren't here last week. How you feeling, by the way?
I'm
great. Oh, never mind.
Nobody cares. Nobody.
It is true.
Nicole Neff cares about you. She says hello.
She doesn't.
Yeah. Hi, Nicole. No, but seriously, I hope you're feeling better.
I am, actually. And since the last time we talked about it in our group chat, I am doing better today. I have less pain today. So we're good. But we do apologize for not being here last week. I was just sinus infections are a bitch, especially when you have to talk for an hour. So we apologize as well to Marshall Kent, who was scheduled to be on the show. We'll get him back on next week. But what are we talking about this week, Johnny?
I'd like to go over the Final Four heading into the PBA Playoffs. A lot of interesting things surrounding that Final Four. A lot of really, really big talent in there. Also, I want to touch a little bit on the Senior Tour as well because we're through the first three events now with the conclusion of the most recent one in Aberdeen, North Carolina, about a couple hours before we came live tonight. Shoot the shit, doing some shit around the house, building some stuff, and take some questions. Hi, Mom. Take some questions and see what everybody else wants to dive into. I know a lot of people have been kind of focused in on Belmo going live and everything he had to say. I will be the first to admit that I did not dive into it as much as I should have, so I'm not really prepared to discuss that. But other than all of the aforementioned things, that's pretty much what I want to talk about. Oh, and my name, No Talent. I have completely lost all of my bowling skill again.
That's all right. I took it because I walked in, obviously just no practice, no even warm up. Maybe I did a stretch or two. Maybe I kind of stretched my bicep a little bit. Shot 707 last week, a little 692 the week before. I mean, no big deal, Then I went to the little Muni, little golf course, and I noticed they're putting new golf holes in the greens, and they're 6 feet in diameter now. And they're calling it the house course. They're calling it the house course. They want golf to be easier now. So I think people are still licking their wounds over the fact that I just abolished the fact that this is not a sport. It's a skill. And another thing that I still got to bring up, here's why it's not a sport. Let's say you walk into the bowling alley and you are athletic and you throw the ball over your same target every time with the same rev rate and you wind up missing the pocket. And it's not your fault. You hit your mark. You hit the spot where you're supposed to, but you have the wrong ball. How is that any indication of someone's athletic ability? Now you got to be a freaking scientist to know what freaking bowling ball to use. Anyway, I still won. That's all. Let's talk about JP and his lack of talent that I stole from him in that debate 2 weeks ago. That's probably what happened.
Is that what it is? Were you demasculated by Dr. Ocho in our sport versus skill debate, Johnny?
In a small way, yeah. He completely ruined my brain entirely. I can't even compete.
That's pretty sad.
Nah.
It's funny. Somebody left a comment on our YouTube channel, Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Subscribe to it now. On your video with your dad, somebody commented and said, if you're changing your balls before moving your feet, you're just stupid. What do you say to that, Johnny?
I think it depends on the environment you're in. When we watch the best bowlers in the world, if you model your behavior on the lanes after watching them, they'll make more significant ball changes than a standard house bowler ever should.
Right.
I would think that the traditional move when you're bowling in league or like local things along those lines, typically, because you have a lot more miss room. So if you're using, let's say, a solid symmetric ball that's, kind of gentle and it starts, going a little bit high and you went turkey 4-pin, I wouldn't change to a bigger ball or a shinier ball, so to speak. I would simply, make the parallel move 2 and 1 left or, 3 and 2, whatever you want to do, however you like to move. But all you got to do is find a little bit more of that oil. The guys on tour, because they're all so good and they're all typically in the same zone, they're breaking down a section of the lane at a much more rapid pace than even happens at the league level. The units of oil, the patterns they're bowling on, a lot of other factors contribute to it. But those guys have to make those huge moves because they're trying to figure out ways to still bowl 230 every game. They're not, unless you're in a situation like a Masters or a US Open where they're extremely difficult and the scoring pace is traditionally higher at the standard events on tour, they're always chasing that scoring pace for those around them. So they're more likely, and they need to more likely make larger drastic ball change moves. But I don't think in any way, shape, or form anybody's an idiot if they opt to change balls in league over moving. There's people that have a very good career bowling league doing that, and they're very happy doing it for a lot of years. So I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with either of those choices. It's whatever is best for your game.
Ocho, what do you do when your shot goes wrong? Do you change your position, or do you go
fill
to
it up? I refill it, and then I take it a different way. Sometimes the shot does go wrong. Big shout out from the Bear Man over there. Everybody sees him. Amel's in the house. What do I do when it's so?
Thanks for stopping by, Brett.
Here's the issue too. Now, where JP's also talking how the drastic move has to be made in the tournament style. On league, I'm being serious. They because they've made it so easy. You have to figure it out quicker. You only got 3 games. You got 2 bad frames in one game in a row, especially, and you're shooting 180 or 190, and there's a lot of big scores thrown. So you could potentially lose your game. So it's almost like as little. If the breakdown is less on league, obviously, but I tend to switch early rather than later because I'm trying to get ahead of it now. Only because I'm using bowling balls from freaking 1942 because I can do that. But I finally actually know what they do and know how they're going to react. So I try, and sometimes it's stupid. You get ahead of it, but and that's how you can screw yourself up because you try to get ahead of it and it ain't even there yet. But you don't have that wiggle room. You don't have 2 or 3 frames to figure it out because your 220 pace is now a 170 with a big 4 or something. That's with the 4 pins, right? Like this. I think I just learned it a couple of weeks ago.
Very good.
Right on. So, and in my own head, I'm like, all right, I can't waste a frame because we only have 3 games.
Where is this house
everywhere
shot?
I go?
Anywhere in the Northeast.
Pretty much.
Compared to out here, Jesus Christmas, my Lord, it is night and day out here. Dude, every day I get on social media, I get more depressed. And forget about all the depressing shit that is on social media and that everybody lives for nowadays. I'm talking about I go through my scroll and like 9 people are shooting 830, 840, 850 every single week back home. And I'm like, I shot 601 last night trying my heart out. I haven't shot 700 in a month, maybe once.
Let's go back to you being bad, because that's how we started this thing.
It's so bad, man. It's so bad.
What is it, John? Is it a mental?
I got 3 7s in the last 5 weeks, so I'm okay.
My buddy Chris Fickler keeps telling me weekly that I'm popping up hard at the foul line, which could be that because I've gotten stronger up top that I am actually because I'm not as flowy at the bottom, that maybe I'm popping up with it to make myself feel like I have to throw it harder because my rev rate's higher or something. But it seems to be that my launch angle is changing from shot to shot because I'm not down at the line. And because I don't use my thumb, and I've always had a problem with too much spine tilt forward, I have to try and cater to all of those things. And what I'm actually missing is the fact that since my thumb is out of the ball, I actually need to get, if anything, lower to the line than I used to.
Yeah.
Kevin, what's up, buddy? He says it's a complete joke here. Ray Charles could shoot 800. One of the reasons he stopped bowling. Yeah, that's where I grew up. I'm used to throwing it left and watching it bang off the rail,
Getting back to your mechanics, JP, real quick. So you're saying that because you need to get lower leg-wise rather than body-wise is what you're saying, because then if anything, the lower you are here, you're just going to snap up even higher trying to pose at what do they call it? Posture at
post
the line?
It.
Post.
Post
okay,
it.
there you go.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So
is that harder to do without a thumb, Johnny, or does that not play into it at all?
Getting lower at the line, is that harder to do without? No. The only thing that actually happens, and seriously, as long as I've been bowling thumbless, this still happens. There were a few times in my bowling career when my thumb was in the ball that I used to dip my left shoulder really low at the foul line, which is okay in today's game. But I used to do it so bad sometimes that my ball would bounce on the approach.
You drag it?
I would drag it.
You knuckle dragger.
So for when I was a kid, a lot of years, what I always remember was my dad always saying, make sure that shoulder doesn't drop too much. It was also one of his biggest slumps in the late 70s, the same issue he had. But so I still have that little tiny fear that I'm going to bang my hand on the approach. Meanwhile, it's impossible when my thumb isn't in the ball.
So I was going to say that too. With your thumb out of the ball, you got more curl, and it almost, I feel like mechanically it would want to make you stand more upright because of without it falling out of your hand, I guess. But I mean, you've been doing it for so long.
That I don't have that.
Right. I can't imagine after doing it for 20 years, you'd have an issue with it. But
yeah, no, that's okay, but it's definitely got to be part of the reason. The other thing I think that's happened is even though I'm still up the back of it, I'm creating way too much tilt, way too much axis tilt.
So getting around the side of it, you mean? Is that what that is?
Yeah. So my ball I'm trying to get it to hug the lane in the front part of the lane and kind of blend itself. But because the heads are so dry at league, or the front part of the lane is so dry at league, I'm running into that situation where I'm almost trying to throw it over it to allow it to make that skid hook roll motion. And it's not just me. Like I said a couple of weeks ago when we talked about this, in general, the league averages are down immensely compared to last year. It seems to be happening across the board. I don't know if it's because the Bowler's Journal is coinciding or if something's happening with the oil machines, but in our particular center at South Point, you got to make some good shots to strike these days, Now, granted, there are always the guys that have it every week. There's always guys that whack them. But I'm saying for a standard house shot, anyway, I'm getting off track here. As far as the physical part of the game, I got to initiate more legs. I got to get lower at the line. I have to allow myself to be more free when I'm letting it go rather than vamping it up into the explosion point and then bailing out.
That makes sense.
Should I – yeah, sorry. That was a ramble.
No, that's fine. Are you watching tape on yourself at all?
My buddy Josh sends me videos. And, that's – I've mentioned this in the past. What sucks for me is I don't look that different when I'm throwing it good, bad, or kind of in between. I always seem to look similar. Unless I'm really not getting down at the line, Everything else always looks pretty good. It just feels so drastically different. Such minor things change completely the way that I get to the line, the way I feel moving to the line. But yeah, that's about it with that.
Do you
all I got to say about that.
I mean,
So yeah, I look at the little things in the videos, and then I try and change them slightly. Make sure your push away goes a little bit more to the right to create more of the figure eight loop, so your swing has more room. Make sure that your follow through is extending it at least to your mouth height. Don't let it lay off at anywhere near before that point. Little things like that. Oh, my third step is drifting too far to the right, so now my line of vision and my actual trajectory path are moved by 3 boards.
You said
it's
figure
always
eight. You're talking your arm swing like that Walter Ray kind of style. Is that where your arm gets tucked on the inside, like you kind of go out? Like Lee Trevino had a golf swing like that. We've all seen it for years.
Yeah, Jim Furyk too.
Oh my gosh, Jim Furyk, Steeler fan too, and smart guy. He U.S. Open 2002, I think he won, or something like that. So that kind of makes the arm hug to the side, I guess. But so it's a tweak for you, basically. You're not just going there kicking the ball down the lane like a skee ball, even though I could. But you just need little tweaks here and there. I mean, it's 601. People still like that score, but obviously for you, it's your life coach. I want to do way better.
Well, you've had to relearn everything since you've gotten into fitness and sculpted your body, and your mechanics are different because your body structure is different. So I do understand that. But I mean, are you putting any extra time in practice, or are you just bowling league, once or twice a week?
I'm only bowling league once or twice a week. I'll be the first to admit that my game is suffering for all the aforementioned reasons, plus the fact that I never practice. Yeah. So can't expect to do anything if I'm not even doing that. I could look at tape all day, but until I get out there and feel what feels right and know what feels wrong, that's the difference in getting up and having the confidence to make the next shot when I'm actually out on the lanes.
Dumb question.
So, yeah.
Now that the game is so different and people are wide open when they throw the ball, is it not as big of an issue to be wide like me and you because we're jacked? Like it used to be back in the day, you were square to your target, like the 70s and 80s, and you always kind of stayed up the back of the ball and rolled through it because the balls weren't hooking so much. So the revs were the only thing that was really carrying it. Now the game is so different that people are wide open and their hands open.
No,
so
the
lats
still
don't make it still does get you out of your alignment, I guess, with the lats being too wide.
Are you on the pendulum? I mean, is your arm still on a pendulum? Since you've gotten
I'm long, even though I'm big. I have a long figure. I'm very long and limber, which is why I was always such a good baseball player. But what happens in bowling, it's the same reason why baseball pitchers are never jacked. You want to build a longer separation, a longer rubber band, a longer whip. Yeah. And what I do notice in my videos is my whip. My old college roommate, David O'Sullivan, former Team USA member, used to always tell me I had the longest flat spot that he had ever seen. And that's basically the collapse of the wrist coming backwards with that yo-yo effect as you're letting it go. It's how long it stays there and stays with the ball. And he said it was always one of my best traits. I've lost that elasticity. I've lost that length in that part of my swing because my lower bicep tendon is so tight in my forearm now. So I can't rubber band it in that at that explosion point anymore.
Full extension there. You have like a 3/4.
We should ask the doctor about this one. Yeah, exactly. I can't open it. So yeah, exactly right. No, you do not want to be wide and expect to be have a chance at the best. You can't do it.
I'm an anomaly. I like that.
Yeah, you are certainly an anomaly. What up, Johnny? Good to see you, bro. But yeah, I wish it was the case because I'm slimming down a little bit for summer. I was at 220. I'm at like 212 now. So I'll probably get down to 205 around time for summer. But even in that transition, I'm curious to see what happens because I will just shrink just because that's what's going to happen when you lose the weight.
You're not going to spot reduce that much. Your lats aren't going to shrink as much as where your fat is, though. That's the other thing. Your muscle isn't. So if anything, you're going to be wider technically.
Oh, great.
Well,
I guess I could at least I could say the the winter leagues are almost over. My teams haven't killed me yet. And I am really, really stoked about the one summer league that I signed up for already. I'm probably going to bowl a second one with my buddy Andre, but the first one that I'm bowling real quick. Am I cool to talk about this right now? What do we got here?
Whatever you want. Your show.
Oh, yeah, I always forget that. It's still surreal to me because I don't do anything to make it happen. So thanks, Rad Rob.
He did his outro, so don't worry about it.
I didn't thank him. I thanked you.
Well, thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There he is. He has
Anyway,
to.
the summer league.
Shit, what was I saying?
The summer league.
Real quick,
Jason, the high league at South Point on Tuesday nights right now is roughly 2:30. It's right around 2:30. It's a little bit higher on Thursday. They're a little bit softer on Thursday, so you might see some guys up in like 2:35. But like, remember, our Tuesday league has guys like David Haynes, Jimmy Schmitzer, Jake Peters, Marshall Kent, myself. There's a lot of studs in that league. So you would think two of those, George Gohagan, you would think guys like that are going to average 240. But shit, I forgot the point that I was going to make.
Yeah, I wear the mask when I bowl, even though I don't know what mask we're talking about. This is my normal look.
I don't know if that correlates to what we're talking about now, but
I'm answering a question. There's a question on the freaking gimmick there.
Hi, Carla.
Hi, Carla.
Someone's got the same last name as you.
That's
Weird.
fantastic.
That's really
And I
weird.
love that her name is spelled with a K.
Not a
That's
common name.
badass, too.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So summer league, you're psyched.
Thank you. Yes. So David Haynes' wife, Tisha, who corresponds all the leagues out here, at least the ones that I bowl in, and she does an awesome job. We're doing a 10-week singles league match play competition, 16 bowlers only for 10 weeks. And there's like brackets and side action each week, you bowling your competitors. So, and it's always on a different patterns. So I'm looking forward to doing that, at least being able to be in the comfortability of my home center and practice on patterns. And those will be shows or league nights that I actually film live. So I'll be interactive with people that want to talk during that league, and I'll also be able to study my game. So I'm kind of using that league to get myself to a point where I'm like, am I good enough to go bowl a couple tournaments here and there if I really put forth the effort? And kind of we'll go from there. So this is the deciding year if I'm going to move forth with it.
Dude, that's badass. That sounds like a really fun concept, to be honest. What night is that going to be on? Do you know yet?
Yeah, Tuesday nights.
Okay, as long as it's not on Wednesday, because then we'd be live.
Wednesdays at 9:30 every week.
No. Or 10 or 11, depending on the
Whenever
style.
time Rad Rob gets done with his 400 other rotten shows to do this one good one, although this one sucks so far.
Yeah, we start May 24th. So what day is that? Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
It's 3 days prior to my birthday. I'll be in Florida, if anybody cares.
Excellent. Yes.
This
Where are you
isn't
going
about
in Florida?
Rob. Don't ask him that. This isn't about Rad Rob. Let's get this show on the road, man. We got stuff to talk about. We got bowling shit to talk about. No offense, Rob. We'll talk about that on your birthday.
We're going to Florida, Johnny, to answer your question. We're going to Orlando to Legoland. My daughter is excited to go, so it'll be a fun trip.
You're going to come back
wonderful.
sick because you're freaking being around people and eating Popeyes again, and you're going to be like, I got to cancel 10 shows. Sorry, guys.
You're horrible.
That's fair. So, PBA playoffs. We started this past weekend with Bill O'Neill and Kyle Troop. As we've noticed in these playoffs.
Sorry to cut you off, Rob. That was 2 weeks ago, right?
Was that 2 weeks ago? Well, we were on last week, so we kind of.
So now we have the whole tournament to cover. Holy jeez.
Yeah, shit. I gotta recall that if I recall correctly.
I'll do a quick recap. As we've noticed early on in this tournament, that a lot of the top seeds were taken out early. But when it comes to the top bowlers in the world, Johnny, does seeding honestly matter? I mean, number one, anybody can have a good game, anybody can have a bad game on any given day. We've seen that with Belmo and others, but these are the elite of the elite. Should there be a surprise if, say, number 10 takes out number 1? Like, is it that big of a deal?
Completely opinion based.
Yeah.
I don't in that format, it doesn't mean shit.
Because one game.
It's 2 games, but either way, anybody can beat anybody in 2 games.
And the difference of their level is very, very minuscule. I mean, we know Belmo's the best bowler on the planet, but he's not untouchable either in a 2-game.
If he's bowling a lefty and the pair is better on the left than the right, and the lefty makes 1 better shot than Belmo, he loses.
If they did it the best out of 10 games, then you got a different story. So
sounds good, John. Looking forward to seeing you. I don't think seeding means anything at all. To me, it's more who has the experience in the situation, who has the hot hand on tour right now, who's making the most quality shots, who is in tune with the Kegel Training Center, which, by the way, is not the venue for the Final Four. They're changing venues. Keep that in mind.
So the pins won't bounce off like a trampoline every freaking shot now. You can shoot at a 10 pin and get a strike because the 10 pin will ricochet 30 times. Like
no matter what they do for the Final Four, you may see some good games, but the scoring pace should certainly be slightly lower, simply because there's no center in the world that carries the way that the Kegel training facility does. But go ahead, Red Rob. You want to take us through the first week there of the round of 8 matches?
Yeah, real quick. We had Bill O'Neill, who's number 16, taking on number 9, Kyle Troop. Kyle was really, really good the week before. Are you a fan of, how do I put this?
Theatrics?
No, yeah, right. Like we've talked about personality, right? We've talked about some of the people, Sean Rash, doing things he's not supposed to do. But when you have somebody flamboyant like Kyle Troop, number one, I kind of know what you're going to say, but we need more guys like that to stand out. But do you think it kind of takes away from the professional aspect when a guy is just fucking, combing his hair or, slapping one out or running one out or playing to the crowd?
No.
Where do you draw the line?
I have Kyle doesn't pick it out every frame. Kyle doesn't. Kyle's classy on the lanes. He's committed to everything that he does, and he celebrates in times that it's perfectly fine and normal to celebrate.
Yeah, you said when do you draw the line? And I feel like when it becomes unsportsmanlike, really.
Yeah, if Chichi Rodriguez. Sorry, Oach, go ahead.
Go.
I was going to say, if Chichi Rodriguez wanted to have a sword fight with his putter on every single green that he made a putt on, even if it was a tap-in, I'd say, hey, Chichi, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But the fact that he does it when he does like a rimmer or he makes a 30-footer, it's good timing. It's like it's genuine. It's like it's real, and that's how I feel about. I think Kyle's emotion is real. The same way I think AJ Johnson's emotion is very real. The same way Tommy Jones' reaction, even though as he's gotten older, he's mellowed out. But Tommy Jones' reactions are real.
But remember, we talked to Pete Weber even a few months ago, and his antics and how exuberant he is and all this stuff. But he's never a bad sport and always great. Like I just remember this one time he was yelling. He's like, he ain't getting his first one against me. No way. And then he goes over, turns it off, shakes the guy's hand, gives him a hug. Total sportsmanship. The guy got it too. He's like, look, the dude just beat me and he's drawing something. He's got his gimmick going. So and especially when it's real, I shouldn't even say gimmick because he didn't fake that. He threw his shades down. And so that's just, I feel like the line is drawn if he throws the shades at the dude rather than on the ground and freaking being a bad sport. So Pete, through all those things, has never really been a bad – not on TV as far as I know. Well, and that's what we discussed a while ago.
Right, but when he engaged with the fan and obviously the most famous spot he was in, who do you think you are?
What a dumb saying. He had a chance to be legendary, and it sounds so stupid.
He did, but was that unprofessional of Pete to go after a fan out of frustration?
You're asking me or him?
Either of you? I don't care who
I don't think so at all because he was getting heckled almost like – he was saying, like, I don't care if you cheer for him, but booing me he's like, it's called sportsmanship. But
should that have been handled during a commercial break and not, in the middle of his shot or after his shot? You know what I mean?
Man, this is these guys' livelihood too. It's not like, I don't know. That's a good question, but I still feel like he handled it the way it could have been because he made note of it. And I don't know. I honestly don't know what the rules are for that. I think it's stupid to have people freaking sitting there to begin with because what's the point?
But Johnny, what about you? Like, should Pete have kind of done that, like with an official during a commercial break. I mean, we know how Pete is, hot tempered sometimes, right? Even though he's a super nice guy. He's super ultra competitive. Like we've talked before, like your dad and guys on that level, you have to be a special breed and have to be that on edge, like razor sharp edge all the time to win. But, like how would Norm Duke have handled that? How would Walter Ray have handled that? Was it just Pete's demeanor to kind of lash out like that way?
I don't have much.
It's all unfair quarterbacking, but I mean, just your opinion.
I think that even though he's been doing it forever, it's not an isolated incident. I think that there have been times that, like, come on, Pete, like, you know better than that, and we know that you know better than that, Yeah. So I do think that it could, half the things that do happen could be handled a little bit differently than they are. But I don't necessarily fault him for it either, because like you said, it's his livelihood. He just worked for an entire week to get where he was right there. And the pot of gold is 2 games away. And I got to worry about this asshole flicking the camera, or this one with the flash on, even though your shit's supposed to be turned off, or this person jumping up, or this person coughing in the 3 seconds I'm walking to the foul line.
You can't turn that off in your brain. You know what I mean? Like, that's something you just
That's the problem. You can't turn that off in the brain. Exactly. So, and different people react to that differently. People react to it differently. Norm is the kind of person that would quietly walk off the set and say, this shit needs to stop. Pete's the one that calls pot calling the kettle black and just says, I'm going to yell at you now. So you're like afraid to fucking move now, so I can go out and do my job now. Everybody's a little bit different.
Or your dad just silently makes a phone call and puts a hit on the guy. So
yeah, usually.
Cement shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unrelated, but Pete Weber related. Because you're an encyclopedia of knowledge. I've been actually trying to find the answer forever, and I can't really find much online about it.
You're really prepping me up you're setting me up for failure already.
Yes. Well, you're a historian.
You set the bar low here.
You're a Pete fan. Pete was suspended for something, and I don't remember exactly what year it was, but it was supposed to be like a few weeks before the Firestone. It was like a 3-week suspension or something like that. And I can't find anything on it, but listening and watching old ABC tapes, I heard Bo Burton talk about it. Like, Pete's going to serve his 3-week suspension right up before the Firestone. Do you remember anything at all?
Are you talking about the suspension in the late 90s, like 96, 7? Or are you talking about the one early on in his career?
It wasn't early on. I want to say it was
because he came back and he won the 98 national championship throwing a storm bolt.
Before that. I think it was.
So, and I think that was fresh off of his suspension. I think that his suspension may have been 95, 6, 7. No, okay. That doesn't make sense either, because he was on the show in the AC Delco in 97. So it may have been around that time, but I don't know the depth of it other than what Randy or whatever Bo would have said. I don't know if it was. I don't really know what is. So I'm not even going to say anything. I don't know what is.
I'll try to find out what tournament it was, because it was one that he actually won, and he was on a super hot streak. But for whatever reason, Bo mentioned that he was serving a suspension, and I'm just trying to find stuff on it. But I'll get back to you later on the week or next week, because it's just, the guy was hot during that time. Like, what the fuck did he do to earn a 3-game suspension or 3-week suspension? So, any event, I just knew you being a historian. I thought
there's a good question. Like, this is actually kind of a fun topic, really. Even though we never got to the PBA playoffs yet, but somebody wrote like he saw Walter Ray throwing his bowling ball somewhere. Go pick up the questions there, Rob. Someone wrote like, unless it didn't come up yet, someone saw Walter Ray throwing bowling balls because he lost to somebody or something. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
So I remember in 2008, Walter Ray Williams Jr. throwing his balls across the paddock. He was pissed losing to Edwards. Yeah, I remember. I'll tell you a quick paddock story, and I distinctly remember caddying when the tour used to use caddies for the top 24. I caddied for Randy Peterson at the JP Open, and this had to be 1996. I was 12 years old, and I remember Randy after that night block following him into the locker room, and he took out a teal Rhino Pro or a purple Rhino Pro, and he just proceeded to overhead thrust smash onto the ground, bang 15 times against the cinder block wall, bang until the thing finally busted apart. And then he turned around and he handed me $200 bills and said, "Thanks, kid. Thanks for caddying this week. I don't think you want that ball anymore."
Yeah.
How many bowling balls would they have back then? Just again, another off topic.
Still six or eight. They were carrying around the lanes with them. I think I remember at that point carrying 2 double totes for Randy.
So so that's when the resin came out is when the changing of the balls was really popularized, and I guess covers and whatnot and symmetry.
Yeah, sure. I got a question for you guys, and unless Rob, you are still feeding here.
No, I was just gonna say one thing. Like, I've told you the story of Pete Weber at Bradley Bowl during the GHO of him getting pissed off that I don't think he made the cut and he threw his balls out of the paddock, like just and threw a fit. And I don't know if he was coked up at the time, but I mean it was mid 80s, mid to late 80s, and I just remember that as a kid because I was around there all the time. My mom worked there. I was seeing a guy like larger than life. Pete Weber, just
a 5'5" guy, larger than life. But again, to a 12-year-old, to an 8-year-old, I guess it is. Yeah. No, I get it.
No, he was. And
he's on TV. He's a character. He dropped the eagle or whatever off his head.
Right.
Yeah.
So to see him throw a fit like that was just like kind of startling to me as a kid. But that's how competitive he was. I mean, it is what it is. Sorry, John. So where are we going to go with that, Johnny?
No, I was going to say I had a question for you guys when we go back into the PBA playoffs topic. Because I wanted your guys' opinions on the Final Four because it's a very interesting Final Four, at least to me. Number one, basically what I want to know is your guys' predictions or like basically what you think is going to unfold and who you think the winner is going to be, because I have my own thoughts as far as all of the logic behind what I think should and should not happen. But again, anything could happen in a 2-game match. Technically, not even a 2-game match. It's a 1-game match with a roll-off. But you have to win one of them. And the roll-off is 2 frames.
Yeah, it's not like
so you only really have to win
it.
You got to win a game and 2/5 or 1/10. 1/5. Sorry. 1/5.
What's 8th and 9th frame, right? What they do?
Right.
9th and 10th.
I'm 9th and 10th. I'm 8th and 9th. Jesus, see, I got Ocho on the brain.
Good job, Ocho.
Who's in it?
We have Chris Prather taking on Kyle Troop.
Prather's going to win.
And we have Tommy Jones taking on AJ Johnson. And
Prather's
I'm really
going to win.
Okay, so tell me why, Oach. You said Prather is going to win, and who?
So
no idea who that is.
Prather. No, of course I know who he is. So Tommy Jones, I feel like kind of lucked out with he had a good carry. He with that purple bowling ball he was using, and stayed in play. I feel like he didn't have to do anything extravagant. And Jesper, I think, made a few mistakes, and that's how, or he got wrapped. I feel like I'm trying to recall. I got a good memory too, damn it. So I don't think Tommy's gonna match up well. I think Prather can just do whatever he wants with the bowling ball. And I think JP said this a while ago, and I saw on that Kyle and Kyle Sherman show, the Kyle and what's the other guy's name?
Brad Miller.
The Brad and Kyle thing. So. It was after another tournament. Oh, it was Brad, I think, lost to Prather. And he's like, it's weird. Like, we're all good. He's like, but Prather has the best release I've ever seen. And I think you said the same thing about it, where he could throw it 20, he could throw it 14. And like sometimes you always want to do something different. He's like, even in slow motion, it looks exactly the same. And he can do whatever he wants with that release. And to be able to be so consistent, regardless of the lane pattern, I feel like he's got to be the favorite to win, even though I don't know the other person that's in it.
So he's Prather's bowling Troop.
Yeah. Okay.
So you like Prather over Troop, and
yes.
Who do you like in the AJ Johnson Tommy Jones match?
The other guy, I think Tommy Jones is gonna just be in play, and this Johnson fellow is gonna make better shots.
See, I'm the opposite when it comes to that one. I think AJ has been kind of sus when it comes to trying to close matches out.
That's true too. He gets there and then doesn't put the paint on. He doesn't put the paint can back on the paint almost.
Right, but he's been lucky that the other guy has fucked up and really given him a win. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Okay.
I think Tommy Jones is more consistent. I think he's in a good headspace right now. I think he's in the zone. I think he has a chance to win the whole thing. If you really want to ask, my honest opinion. So I do think Tommy Jones is going to beat AJ. I'm really intrigued by the Prather and Troop thing because we know Troop is a defending champion. As we've talked about, he's a great name for the sport. He probably should have won the ESPY for Bowler of the Year, but we already talked about that early on. And he's hot right now. Like, didn't really do much during the season, but like we see in playoffs, like hockey and baseball, when you like in hockey, you get a hot goaltender, you ride him through the fucking playoffs. That's kind of where Kyle's at right now. Like, he's got the hot hand, but Prather is still very, very good. So I think
he won a few times right before the end of the season, and I think he won this a couple of years ago, right?
He's a defending champion.
No, Prather.
Yeah,
he win a couple years ago or something, and he won.
Johnny, you could probably answer that better than me.
Bill O'Neill won in 2019. Then it was Prather, and then it was Kyle last year.
Okay. So Prather's very, very good, but I think Kyle is hot right now, and it's hard to really root against him.
It's the reason I asked you guys is this one is very difficult for me. Again, I don't like to talk about the money a lot, but it is $100,000.
Yep.
So leaving that there on its own, the pressure has got to get to a certain level at some point for an AJ Johnson, knowing that much money is within reach.
Right.
Whether it is a fact or an opinion, it does play a role in your brain at this
the other
point.
guys have been there before. It's like Barry Sanders handing the football over. Like, he's been
Absolutely.
there before. All those three other guys
all three
been
of
there
them.
before. That's a good point.
And two of them.
Taking nothing away from AJ either. Like, AJ is
absolutely nothing from AJ.
Fantastic.
Because AJ is finally at the point where he's feeling, I want to be in the $100,000. I want to be in the $100,000 group. I certainly belong there. So what is happening is, at least for me, is again, the other three guys have all bowled for it.
Yep.
And Prather and Troop are fresh off bowling for it. Big seasons, big money, bowling for that amount of cash several times. And now let's flip the script a little bit here.
Hey, chat, who do you think is going to win also?
They're changing venues.
Chat room.
Yeah, chat, please tell us who you think is at least going to get to the title match and the winner. But now we're changing venues. We're no longer in the Kegel Training Center with ideal lane conditions and ideal kickboards and everything like that.
Yep.
So what Kevin just wrote is my final pick in the whole thing for a couple reasons. I think the change in venue will suit what TJ has figured out a way to go more up the lane than anybody else. And he's continuing to do it. And he's gotten so comfortable doing it that he's almost like out there on his own island the way Norm Duke would be. Like he's figured out a way to seemingly manipulate any building that he's in by playing more up the lane. And he's a 20-time champion and a Hall of Famer and pretty much as decorated as you could possibly be. It pains me to believe that Tommy's going to win when if he does get past AJ, that he's got to bowl one of the two past three champions, one defending champion coming off one of the biggest earnings year a PBA professional has ever had. All those things for me, I'm curious to see how it's all going to go. But I do think that I personally think, even though Prather is very difficult to beat on fresh oil, I don't know. I saw something in Kyle's eyes when he said he was coming for his belt. Yeah. Kyle looks like he knows he is supposed to be bowling to defend that title. That's what I think. So I'm going to go with Kyle in that one, even though I think as hot as Kyle's hand was in that Kegel Training Center, and he's been averaging whatever it is, 255, 260 or whatever it is in all of his matches, I'm gonna pick him in the venue change, and I think it's gonna be him versus TJ, and then I think TJ is gonna get the best of him.
I think so too. I think we're on the same page.
With the new venue, the higher rev rate guy would have the advantage now, right? Because the kickboards because the pins aren't going to fly around as much. I mean, I guess the higher rev rate guy always has the advantage. I guess.
No, not necessarily at all. I mean, look at the Masters.
Yeah.
Norm Duke led the Masters because they were impossible. It didn't matter how much you hooked it.
Oh, that's true.
What's going to happen is now, because they've been bowling so many rounds in the Kegel Training Center, and they don't have very much time to learn the characteristics of the new center, those are the things that come into play when you're on the TV show, even if you're there 1, 2, 3 days.
is going to be, because I was noticing again, like Tommy Jones, when he used that purple ball, like he didn't seem, you guys, you had said like the idea is you want to carve out a spot where you have the most miss room, where at the break point or something like that, where, and that's, it's hard to do. And I feel like with that bowling ball, he doesn't have much miss room, but it seems like he's, with this new style that he's playing, he's just so damn accurate. He hasn't been missing. So
That's
I don't
true.
know.
He has miss room, but it's closer to him. And miss room with TJ's urethane looks different. You guys are so used to seeing the lefties throwing urethane. Yeah, you're looking at the Graham Foz, the Buttriffs, the Jespers, and they're kind of loopy with it. The righties are more up the lane, and the guys that shoot it through the front up the lane. Like Tommy's hand looks really good at the bottom in that purple ball because at least he's allowing himself to play with a 30-foot lane instead of a 60-foot lane.
So that's what I was going to say. So his miss room is like at 30 feet rather than 45 or something, where most of the real hookers are, I guess. Is that what it is?
The real hookers, yeah. That's what he was saying on this past show. He was talking about he kept doing this higher. He's talking about throwing it higher and further away from him, because he's trying to make the ball read not at his toe, you know?
Right.
He wants it to go a smidge further because he knows he can't start throwing it right because it's either going to sniff the dry way too quick and go sideways and big four on him, or it's never going to have enough energy down lane to get out that 2-8-10 combination. Or that marshmallow flat 10 hit. So what he's figured out is a way to stay in that zone while the other guys kind of fuck with each other from deeper. And
that's true. And his bowling ball won't really be affected by all their smishing around or whatever down lane, I guess, right? Because it's already tracking.
Right. And now are they separating the final two matches into two shows, or is it just one? Do you have that information up, Rob, or do you want me to get it?
Let's see. The Sunday at 1 is
should be both matches if it's 2 hours.
Matches. Yeah, Sunday at 1 on Fox. It's the semifinals, and then on the 15th will be the finals at 2 p.m. So yeah,
should we still recap what happened? I mean,
people can figure out for this.
Meanwhile, it's Sunday's Mother's Day.
Sunday is Mother's Day. Yeah.
Shit, what a shit time.
Is it live or is it like?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Good for them too. Well, I guess they got. I don't know.
It's on the big F. It's on Fox, so it's not on FS1.
Oh, regular networks too. I mean, I guess they got to get what they can, whether or not it's Mother's Day.
Exactly. And
I mean, sure, there's a lot of moms that'll say, "I just want to sit at home today. That'd be the best Mother's Day ever. You just let me sit at home and I don't want to do shit." That's what my mom would say.
Right.
I don't want fucking flowers. Just leave me the fuck alone for the day.
Somebody cook for me for once.
So you got it, Ma. I'll go bowling.
So I'm looking forward to it. And we'll see who comes out into the finals next week. So that being said, Johnny,
who did the chat pick? Who did the chat pick? Did anybody, or is nobody even here?
Cares the chat picked.
No, I care.
You can read the comments.
Don't shit on the freaking fans.
Come on. I can't do everything. God damn it, ouch. So moving
chat, there is no wrong answer. There is no wrong answer. It's just not. They're all such good players, and they're all having such great years. They're all having such great years.
I would pick Emil over all of them, by the way.
If Emil was on the show, it's without a doubt.
Feed him a couple blackberries, and then he is going to freaking dominate.
Kevin likes TJ. Emil likes Troop.
I like Troop, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Ocho. He'd pick Ocho, too.
Yeah.
I think Ocho would lose to Bear in a 3-game total win match.
I have many times.
So
in the bar and on the lane.
Here we go. Here's put up the guns out.
No,
it's an audio podcast, but just go ahead. Emil wants to see the guns. Throw them up again. There you go.
What kind of sound effect do you
now Johnny,
he's got the peaks. He's got the peaks.
You should call me James Vanderpeak from here on out.
Yeah, there's no contest, ouch. You're not as defined. Sorry.
I'm fettered, damn it.
Moving on to Belmo. Let's just talk about this real quick.
You have to do most of the talking on this, but I'll throw in my 10 cents.
Well, I mean, know he's been out there. been very vocal, obviously, about his balls being tested.
And good on him, by the way. I
love it.
Caught him.
Love every minute of it. Shove it up their ass, Belmo. Keep
That's
going.
what I want to know. Like, are you surprised that he's been so transparent?
At this point, you hear my dogs? I warned you about this.
Yeah.
I have to mute for a minute unless you want to keep hearing dogs.
Okay,
I got it.
I'll ask you then. Given that he's the biggest name in bowling, are you surprised that he's not really kind of towing any line? He's being real transparent and pissed off about what's going on.
I think transparency was what they weren't doing.
Right.
What the USBC wasn't doing. So he was wronged. He was flat out wronged. And again, this is a professional sport, whether you want to call it that or not. It's still a professional. These are professionals. It's not like it's not a job that he's employed by somebody. So for them to do that, sure. He was flat out wronged, and they made it up as they went along too. So he's like, it's not like he signed a contract where under these circumstances this is going to happen. It's literally like he got shaken down by a freaking leg breaker because he was 2 weeks late on the VIG or something like that. He's 100% in the right, and I feel like him doing this should put the heat on them. I'm so glad he's doing it.
Well, I mean, he's essentially an independent contractor, right? I mean, he is his own brand. He's his own person. He's not working for USBC. He doesn't work for the PBA. He's not.
And he's paid by, I guess, does he use Storm bowling balls? I don't even know. Who does he use?
He's endorsed, but I mean,
that's what I'm saying. So that might be his contract, but it's not with them. It's not with any bowling federation.
Right. It's not like he's under contract to the Cowboys and Jerry Jones fucked up and did something wrong and now he's pissed about it. He shouldn't be talking about it, but. Essentially bowlers are their own brand, they're independent contractors. So he's not tied to any one organization. So I do understand that, but just given his demeanor, Johnny, and the way he handles himself, to me it was a little shocking that he's been that transparent.
I still think he's a little fettered because he's the best bowler in the world. Okay. But I'm 100% behind anything that he says at this point. Sure. Yeah.
And the fact that USBC is still kind of going all in on, we're not going to fucking tell you anything, or we're not going to tell you why we did what we did.
They really suck, man.
It would be like Major League Baseball X-raying every one of Aaron Judge's bats every time because we know he's freaking 6'8". We know he hits the ball hard, or him and Stanton, and only their bats get X-rayed
and then it would be like telling, and then it would be like telling one of the employees that sells hot dogs in the stands at Yankee Stadium that they're not allowed to come out for fan day on the field and meet the players because that's what the USBC does to its fucking employees at USBCs.
No shit.
The people that write the rules in the head office, they're always there for the inaugural event. But people that are working the desk every goddamn day from 7 a.m. to midnight, they're not allowed to bowl.
Is that meant to keep the bowlers from getting annoyed or like?
No, I think that's meant to keep with their, consistency of shittyism.
Oh my God. Like that's seriously, that's all it sounds like.
That's
it sounds like they're trying to be
like,
how can we screw shit up more? Oh, I got an idea. Let's take the best bowler on the planet, grab his bowling balls, take him without him. They could be putting, they could be putting freaking wood glue in the freaking finger holes for all we know. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you could trust us. Why would I trust you? You've done nothing to help the sport in the last 3 years. Now you're banning bowling balls. You want to take mine? Like, I don't know, dude. It's like, here, give me your bowling bag. You know, at the airport, they say, don't ever leave your bag out of your sight.
Yeah, don't ever.
And now the USBC says you can trust us.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, good.
Light bomb in your thumb hole. And you'd think, knowing that it's the biggest name in the sport, they kind of would have went somebody else and not made such a big deal out of it. Or do you think they didn't even think that he would make a big deal out of it? Like, I can't imagine. I mean, if you try to put yourself in the USBC.
I think that if Belmo never would have gotten on social media and said that he politely declined the voluntary ball test, I think he brought it to people's attention by
you don't think anybody else
not. But I think that he had to be pulled into that he had to be asked for that voluntary spot check. just the same
And
way
again,
I'm
the word
assuming
is
any other big gun.
voluntary still, which they still aren't.
Yeah, he just publicly announced that he voluntarily decided to go tell them to fuck themselves.
And what is there's still no consistency with this either.
No.
We still don't know what their premise is. Like
We don't know what the results were either.
Nothing.
Now,
No, nothing.
Did you watch the videos I sent you guys of the storm barometer tests?
Yes,
that was very interesting. Yeah,
absolutely was.
And they're very transparent about.
Tell the fans about it, Rob.
Yeah, Johnny,
in case they didn't see it.
Well, Johnny knows he can speak the lingo better than me, but I mean, just give everybody like a Cliff Notes version of what you saw.
Alex Hoskins measured. He showed different things that affect readings, and he took all the new balls and he shined them and he heated them up and he cooled them off and he hit him. He punched him 5 to 10 different times all over the bowling ball, and every single reading was anywhere from 73.5 to 75.5.
Well, that much of a discrepancy.
Yeah,
and they did this with all of the discontinued or all of the illegal bowling balls.
Yeah,
and they did it with customers like true customer balls that were sent back to them.
Right.
You know, things along those lines.
So could they truly affect the reading if they wanted to screw somebody? The USBC, I'm saying, like,
if they don't calibrate the durometer right, and there's a little shadiness involved, like
let's say they do something to the
you know as well as
affect
anybody that the head organization can do whatever they damn well please for
it's
their
the
own
government
benefit.
right there. Literally what governing
exactly.
Like they
so we just don't know what the benefit was to scumbag Storm at the Masters. Oh, and every other Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes out to the Open Championships. Fuck them.
And they still haven't talked about it. They
are so freaking tight-lipped. I don't know if they feel like they're just waiting for this to die off now, but they can't. There's no way they can let this die off.
What Kevin said earlier, and Kevin, if you watch Sweep the Rack, check them out because they were talking about this earlier today. Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike, they were talking about how a new organization needs to come into play. So that they wish that just like $25,000, throw it in a pool somewhere, start something new, and all the people that say this will never work, and just fuck them and start with what you got. The same way the PBA was founded with the 12 original members and the $50. That's 100% what I hope happens at this point for bowling's sake, for the sake of bowling.
In order for something to be deemed a professional sport, I guess is there any commission? Like an athletic commission that can have an oversight on this. I know I'm probably pushing a different button here, but like, because oversight needs to happen for everything. I feel like, because this is just really running amok, and I don't know that it'd be an athletic commission, but some commission that
or a committee
something like that, like a bowlers committee that has a say in even what the USBC or. Dude,
I saw a picture on Shannon O'Keefe's page standing in front of the building, the USBC, that says USBC is an Olympic Committee member. Am I wrong when I say that? Or
I think I saw that too, and I did kind of shake my head at that too. That's oh man, we don't even need to go down that road tonight.
They're really just digging deep. I don't get it. And I don't know what it is, and it's not even the bowling. You don't have to know bowling to know how shady this is, because this you can apply to so many different realms. It was inconsistent. It had no basis, and
poor timing,
they're awfully shit timing. And there's
you see it?
Oh yeah, right there.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that too.
And
USBC member, U.S. Olympic Committee.
How scary is that?
And they still have no data to prove what they were doing. Like, I swear, they better go find some freaking
they haven't released results.
Stephen Hawking kind of guy to freaking write up a freaking Warren Commission or something, just to blur the lines with the freaking average folk to say, this is what we found, put it in lingo that they can't understand, and at least say, okay, well, they did the testing for this, so they can at least close it. But right now, man, they just look like absolute garbage.
They've shown zero evidence to any of their testing to say why those balls are not allowed in the USBC.
And you can't even freaking seek redress to it. They're kicking people off like, hey, why'd you do that? We only want positive comments. Hey, I'm glad you did that. Like, what the frig, man? Like, you still should have to. Oh, all right.
Johnny, really good at staring, right? Like, he hasn't blinked in like 2 minutes, and he's gone.
Yeah, he was frozen good.
It was. But no, you're right, dude. It's so shady, and it's so obvious, and so in front of everyone's face.
Right. It's almost like we're doing this. Fuck you. You can't do anything about it, and it's
Pretty
just going
much.
to die off at some point.
We own everything. Yeah, we sanction all the leagues and in the tournaments.
Yeah, and because without us, you won't have anything. So we get to do whatever we want. Rules for thee, not for me.
Pretty much. You're exactly right. And that's what's going on. It's a pissing contest. And somebody has a fucking agenda who apparently was somebody that works at store.
Right. And who what started it though? Still, it's almost like somebody was just like, I got an idea. So this Belmo guy, he's winning all the stuff. What if now stay with me here? What if we grabbed his bowling balls and hear me out. We say it's voluntary, but we make him do it anyway. Oh, and guess what? He can't watch, and we can do whatever the hell we want with his bowling balls because we're behind a curtain. And HIPAA. We're gonna protect his bowling balls for HIPAA purposes.
And if he says no, well, what's he hiding?
Right. And he's guilty.
He's guilty.
There's our probable cause right there.
There you go. Smart guy. Yeah. That's
so
I guarantee
so who's the guy? It's like back in the day, Trim Spa was like this diet thing and all that. Like,
yep.
And John Daly, before he did lose weight, and I think he got fat again, John Daly was the spot. He was endorsed by Trim Spa. And I'm like, okay, 7 executives are sitting in the room, and they're like, okay, golf is, there more people are getting in shape. It's not like it's not like a thing where people are fat and just drinking beer and eating hot dogs like bowling. Anyway, and someone says, so Trim Spa, we're the wave of the future. You're in shape, thin. And what they do is they say, I got an idea. Let's have a golfer. And someone goes, I know, let's have John Daly be the sponsor of Trim Spa. Now, if the one executive says that, okay, good. But the 7 others
back at a perfect time.
6 others should say, John Daly, why would you want that big fat dude endorsing our product? That doesn't make any sense. But instead, the executive said, I stand by you. Let's give him $300,000 a year and we're good. JP, we're talking about how when it came down to grabbing his bowling balls, like somebody had the brainiac idea and said, okay, I got an idea. Let's go to this Belmo guy. Let's take his bowling balls. Now follow me here. We'll say it's voluntary. No, this is them. This is them in the room. And they're like, now what we're going to do is we're going to say it's voluntary. And if he says no, he's hiding something. So he's going to let us. And what we're going to do, we're going to take his bowling balls behind a curtain where he can't see. How great of an idea is that? And everyone else said, I love it. How did that happen? Because there was a few people there to do it. And I
guess they're all still in second grade.
It's rhetorical, but that's my, and so that I was going to like where somebody didn't have the brains to say, wait a second, why can't he watch if it's a legit test? And we're going to probably do it to everybody. And let's explain to him what we're doing. Let's explain why, we got this purple hammer thing. Nobody thought that. Nobody thought that was rational to say, maybe let's keep him in the loop since it is his equipment. And I
love that the more we talk about this, the
worse it sounds.
More ridiculous. It's just. I'm thinking about that conversation. I'm thinking about Belmo going, all right, but can I watch? No? Why? Why not?
But it is voluntary, right?
What do they say to that? Like,
what's their reasoning thing? No, you can't go behind.
Well, we have a special durometer that hasn't hit the market yet.
You're right. It's behind the curtain. I said HIPAA because, they had to put it behind that to protect the privacy of the bowling ball. So maybe there was a new compliance fault thing. But again, and then he says, okay, no, I don't want you to check my balls. It is voluntary. And then they go, what are you hiding?
What are you hiding? Yeah, what do you
mean we can't check your bowling balls? What are you, cheating? Oh, now you're guilty.
Which very easily could have said back to him, well, I think that you're cheating because I don't even know what you're testing and what's behind that curtain if you have anything at all. How do you like that?
But USBC, you have something to hide? The governing body, they'll say, newsflash, Belmo doesn't let us check his bowling balls. Who knows what he's hiding? You know what I mean? Like,
newsflash, Belmo is more influential than your entire organization, guys.
I don't think they know that. I don't think they do.
I don't know. I think they did because they didn't go that route. I would just say, well, what the fuck are you hiding?
Again, this is the idiocy of this. How can they think that, which we know they do. We know they do. And that Belmo has more influence, but they still did it. Which again, they weren't like, look, this guy's the best bowler in the world. Like we're really digging ourselves. We're really digging ourselves deep if we just take his bowling balls, don't explain why, and then if it gets out, like maybe he's so nice he won't say anything. Like maybe we should tell him. Dude.
Let me play devil's advocate, Johnny.
Okay.
Do you think the officials there at that time even thought it was a big deal? Like they're just doing their thing. They're doing their job. They didn't think it was going to blow up. Be this big.
It's the first time it's happened, though. It's not like it's something that's been routine. It's not like, hey, put your bowling shoes on. You know what I mean? Like this is the first time it's happened.
Yeah. If you are sitting in a room with a black curtain set up on day one of the Masters and you call in 50 bowlers, you had to know there was going to be a shit show.
Without any memo, without any warning, without any, hey, in 3 months we're going to be doing this. And
I don't know. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I mean,
because not one person has said anything good or even fair or even, oh, that makes sense. There isn't, like JP saying, the more we talk about it.
I'm waiting for one person to write, you can't really fault the USBC because they have to. Fuck you. I want to say that to somebody right now.
But because there is no point. They have yet to come up with any rational. This is the first thing we said the first day. There better be some smart mother effer in 3 months that has some really good info that at least can just extinguish some of these flames because they're fans so bad because there isn't one single shred of anything good or necessary that came out of it.
If anybody would come out and said, look, this is exactly why we decided to do this and explain their rationale, maybe I can kind of get behind it. But the fact that they've been mum on the entire thing,
I don't know if they know yet. I think they just they took a swing at something and they screwed up, and now because
somebody had to make that call. Somebody up here had to make the call.
That's my point. That's my point. But when somebody makes that call, usually there's got to be some people that agree on it. Nobody was like, dude, how dumb are you? How dumb are you? Do you realize how stupid we're gonna look when we don't even know what we're looking for? Like this,
right?
And maybe I just don't know enough about it because again, I think it doesn't even relate to bowling. It's literally an issue that in any realm, if something like that happened, it just reeks of freaking shadiness.
Can you get them for fraud? Asked Ricky Smith. I mean, where's the legal loophole?
What could you? How did it? If it didn't affect him, unless he could prove it negatively affected him, like bowling wise, because he got to use his bowling balls, right?
Yeah, no,
they didn't steal them and say, okay, we're leaving these in a locker.
There was no financial or personal gain by the USBC.
Right.
Which is what actually defines fraud.
Or loss by Belmo either. So he's
right.
Fraud.
So there is no wrongful doing in the fraud category.
There's smear. You can certainly do that.
Smear.
It doesn't freaking happen, but like
yeah.
Well, I mean, they don't have a good luck right now. So I mean, their name is kind of getting dragged through the mud because they've been so.
That's their.
Here's the truth, and the last thing I'll say about it.
Yeah.
They haven't given a fuck for a long time. Now they're just accepting
proving it. They're just
like, all right, everybody already knows we don't give a fuck. So fuck them anyway.
It's like me doing a show with freaking Rad Rob. It's like I show up, I do a bunch of dumb shit. I don't care. I really don't give a rat's ass. And like I'm here though. But like I phoned it in years ago.
Sure. When you
like being here. You like being here.
This one ain't so bad.
Yeah. When you dropped out, Johnny, I told Ocher, I said, it's a pissing contest. Somebody had the tip off. Everybody was going on about, the banned balls with Storm. Somebody has an axe to grind at some point down the line when it comes to Storm.
That'd be the only logical thing, though, and which is illogical because there's supposed to be a governing body in fairness, but that's the only logical thing that would make sense about it.
The timing was so egregious because you already started a fucking tournament. It's mind-blowing that we have zero information. What are we, 3-4 weeks out from when it happened?
And we still don't know
anything. Yeah. We don't know anything.
Nothing.
It's amazing. We have no evidence. We have no reasoning. We have no rationale. We don't know who made the call. We don't know why they made the call. We don't know anything. And that's what's frustrating to a lot of bowlers around the country. And I think
it's been a month because you've been sick twice. And usually you're sick every 2 weeks. So that's definitely
fair.
been a month.
I followed the USBC Facebook groups from around the country, regional wise.
Weren't you the one saying that if you said anything like even remotely bad, you got kicked off or something? Like if you're like, guys, can you explain yourself? And they're like, screw you, we're not.
The main USBC forum that they actually moderate, or have somebody that works for them that moderates, it will take posts off. But I'm talking about like the local, like Kenosha, Wisconsin, and Hawaii, and all
right.
USBC groups. They're fucking pissed, and they don't want to be a part of it. But what else are they going to do, Johnny? Nobody else is sanctioning leagues, except unless you want to do the PBA league. But that's not everybody has that.
Somebody with a vested interest, with the financial means to start a new corporation for bowling, to start a new governing body for bowling. That's what has to happen.
The thing, though.
Let's get Walter. Let's get Norm. Let's get
not bowlers.
You don't want to run by bowlers?
No, I want to run by like Elon Musk.
Executives, basically.
I want to run by somebody who's going to try and make something out of it. Who's going to try and build the sport for what it is.
But what I don't understand,
people actually love the game, though.
I still don't understand this.
They'll be the heroes of the sport. Guy, what?
So the USBC, okay, right? You said they phoned it in years ago.
Planet Fitness.
But at least Planet Fitness still has equipment that isn't broken. You know what I'm saying? The gym is still clean.
Yeah, but they also tell you when you've had enough.
Right. But the USBC at this point, they're not even trying though. It's almost like, okay, they took this thing over and they were gonna. It's not that they're okay. Phoning it in means like usually you just kind of plateau or get a little worse. They're going out of their way to make it worse. It would be like Planet Fitness, freaking making sure all the treadmills are broken on Mondays. You know what I'm saying? So here you got your Tootsie Rolls and pizza, but no treadmills. So it's like they're going out of their way to make it horrible, and I feel like that's actually work. So I'd rather you do nothing than sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was fired up because I don't get it.
It's a good reason to get fired up over because we all love bowling, right? I mean that's
definitely.
why
I show up, I throw a 7, I leave. That's all.
That's what we always say. I'm tired of shooting 601 though. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm shooting 0, so at least there's that. Let's wrap it up here, guys. I know it's getting late. We're out and Johnny looks like he's hungry. So
I had a long day. I got another day full of painting tomorrow. And then, hey, I get to go bowl league. Maybe I'll shoot 8:30 for 4 tomorrow.
Just ask Ocho for advice. That's all you got. Just call him up and say, hey, this is what the lanes are doing. And Ocho will tell you where to go.
FaceTime me. We're good.
Yeah, maybe I'll send you some video tomorrow. Live video from league.
Johnny, where can people find you on social media, buddy?
Johnny Petraglia on Facebook or at JPJunior07 on Twitter.
Ocho, what's your Twitter handle?
I don't know.
Johnny, what's the Twitter handle?
At VDR8.
See, I'm telling you.
Now James Vanderpeek.
You can follow me at Brad Gaming. You should change that actually for a week. Just change it to
Dr. James Vanderpeek.
Yeah,
Johnny Swolman.
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Radrock Gaming. Thank you for everybody in the chat that hung out tonight. Everyone that asked questions and
our podcast, Rob, which is different than the YouTube page because one is a 5 and one's written 5. So let's get all this in the email and let's do it, buddy.
And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for joining.
And leave us a 5-star review or a 1-star review on iTunes. That actually helps the algorithm. And
it does actually help.
You can say how bad I am. It's fine. I know I don't know much about bowling, but damn, I look good.
I thought you did a good job tonight, Ouch.
I thought you did too. Thanks, Derek. Thanks for being here.
Emil, the #1 Ocho fan.
Good night, cable strap mop hostage.
I don't know what that means, but
I'm actually Emil's fan.
That's for an audience of 1.
Gotcha. You guys can check out the audio version of this podcast and all of our shows in the archives. We're 30 episodes deep, so you can check out our past shows anywhere.
Fettered and unfettered, actually.
Right.
Fettered and unfettered shows are in the past.
Ocho, where can you find this podcast?
Anywhere podcasts are found. Under a pool table, inside a freaking cabinet. Podcasts are found everywhere now. Found one in my dryer just this morning.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. I missed that bit. We used to do that a long time ago. But in any event, guys, we appreciate your support. Thank you for helping us grow this show. This is actually the fastest rising show on my network, which
499 shows, and we're the fastest rising.
But the word's catching on. People are enjoying this. We're getting the name out there, and we can't do without you guys. We thank you for coming here each and every week. whether it's on our new YouTube channel, Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr., or on Facebook on Johnny's personal page. However way you found us, we appreciate you being here and listening and watching us. So thanks to everybody that hung out tonight. Good night, Derek. Good night, Ricky. Good night, Abel. Kevin, Ricky, Smith, everybody that joined us. Roland,
Ronnie, Robbie, Ricky, and
Ronnie,
Mike. If I love the girl,
Kenny.
who cares who you like?
Oh, make sure you say goodbye to Nicole, Oach.
Goodbye, Nicole.
Goodbye, Nicole. Her birthday was a couple weeks ago, right? Even though we
That's
missed
right.
how many weeks?
Yes.
As long as Nicole Neff keeps tuning into this show, she's going to be reminded of the day that we said happy birthday.
Butchered
on here to
happy
her.
birthday.
Yeah, well, hey,
We're a bunch of hacks anyway, right? Well, Oach was the house hack, but
bet.
I digress.
All right,
tonight
Rob,
I'm
end
the
the
no
show.
talent hack. All right, Rob, end the show.
Okay, I'm going to end the show. We'll see you next week for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network. Hold on, wait for it. Hold on. I actually got another video. Wait for it, because I didn't have this ready. So
Video or audio?
here we go. It's video for those listening on audio.
Oh, boy, let's
Great.
see.
Oh my God.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Straight Up 5. If you would like to send your questions into Johnny Jr., send us an email at straightup5@gmail.com. That's straight up FIVE @gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.